Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Virtual Flight Diaries. Here we have the Simworks Studios PC-12 with the new update. I believe it's 1.2.6. So I haven't had any problems with it so far. I haven't encountered any bugs. Although I've only put in maybe an hour in the update flying it, so we'll evaluate that in this flight, which is going to be about an hour long. So here we are with Tradewind Airways. It's a real-life airline, and they do a real-life scheduled service from St. Bart's. Or St. Bartholomew. Bartholomew? I just know it as St. Bart's. It's a very famous airport. And it's because of the approach to runway 10. This hill here. So the planes come in and they have to come in and then drop down along this slope and land, and it's also a very short runway that leads to a beach and the lagoon. So yeah, it gets pretty sketchy. So there's some YouTube videos out there showing some of the mishaps of planes that didn't quite make it. One in particular is, I believe it's a Beach Baron, and it came in, I guess it was coming a little too fast. It floated and touched down right about here and then hit the beach. I was going to clip that video, but I'm not too sure what the YouTube rules on that are, and I didn't want to get into that. And I'm kind of new to the whole thing, so I didn't want to take on a copyright thing. So I decided to make a video of me landing in a different plane. I'm not going to land in this plane. I don't have enough hours in it. It's a very tricky landing. So I took a video that I'll play for you guys in a little bit of me doing an approach to this runway, so you can see what it's like. I used a plane that I have a lot more time in, and was able to do the approach. Sorry about the voice being a little scratchy. So, here we are at the passenger terminal at St. Bart's, and we're going to be taking on 6 passengers and 2 crew from St. Bart's to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And we are going to be good speed 881. There's no live ATC, but we'll simulate as best as possible. Well, let's get inside. Actually, let's get set up here. See our passengers on board. I'm going to get set up for that engine start. There's a lot of things I love about this plane. It is one of the single-engine turboprop families. They're very creepy passengers. Okay, it's in the single-engine turboprop family, and like the TBM and the Piper Meridian 600 and the M700 now. it's big. So it makes this a little slower, but it's like the SUV of the single turboprop planes, and it has the capability of very slow approach and landing, so it can come into some very short fields, which makes it good for St. Bart's. And there's actually a really cool video that I saw on YouTube of a Tradewind Airways PC-12 landing and coming down that grass slope at maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet above it. Is crazy. So the History Channel has rated St. Bart's as third most dangerous airport in the world. And you can believe it, the way you have to approach this. There's no, unless you had a real powerful plane, there's no option to go around. I mean, and the approach to runway, the other side, runway 28, that hill, forget it. You're not taking back off again if you miss it. You're going to crash right into the end. So, makes it very, very tricky. So let's get set up here, and then we'll play that video. So we're going to run some checklists. We do have checklists. So pre-flight checklist: parking brake is set. Window shades have been removed. Flight control locks removed, and we stow that over here. Standby bus on. Nav light can come on, and the inertia separator can come open. Battery 1 and 2 on. Beacon light can come on. Whoop. Beacon light. PS test. Green light. And then armed. Fuel quantity. So we're going to run the panel test. And once that's finished running its test, we're going to reset our fuel. That checks with how much fuel we have on board. Oxygen lever can come on.
TOS system test OK.
No smoking. And seatbelt signs on. Condition lever cut off. No. And power levers to idle. Okay. So we're not on any ground power. So let's get our engine started. So engine start, starter engage, condition lever, ground idle at 13%. Okay. Seems that we have Glitched. Great. No problem.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Get set back up. On. PS tests. And armed. Oxygen. Standby bus. Okay.
TOS. System test OK.
Alright, run its tests. Let's try that again. Hopefully it doesn't glitch again. Hopefully that's our glitch for the mission. Okay. That's good. Feels good. Alright, so after start checklist, generators 1 can come on, and 2. Show an amperage increase. Voltage is good. So we're charging. Standby bus can come off. Environmental controls.
Warning, avionic bus.
Go to auto. Avionic switches on. Flaps 15. Climate control set as required. Pressurization, cruise altitude plus 500. So we're going to be flying at 16,000. So we're going to set the cab to 16,500. Put recog lights to pulse because we're daylight, and then set the barrel ref, and then we're going to check our weather.
TOS. System test OK.
Using the TDS GTNxi, so hopefully that's not bugged this update. Also, I'm going to be using Active Sky FS for our weather, which has some really cool features. So, if the current conditions is partly cloudy, but we're going to get the briefing as if we called Flight Service Station. So, here we go.
Standard weather briefing for Tango, Foxtrot, Foxtrot, Juliet 2, Tango, Juliet, Sierra, Juliet. No SIGMETs active for your route of flight. No AirMETs active for your route of flight. Current weather conditions for your departure. Wind 065 at 17. Visibility 10,000. Sky condition 2,100. Scattered 2,700. Scattered. Temperature 29er. QNH 1015. For the destination. Wind 064 at 12. Gusting to 21. Visibility 10. Sky condition. Few clouds at 3,200. 6,500. Scattered. Temperature 29er. Altimeter 3001 for your alternate. Wind 074 at 11. Gusting to 16. Visibility 10. Sky condition. Ceiling 2,300. Broken light rain. Temperature 26. Altimeter 3000. Forecast conditions for your departure. Wind 065 at 17. Visibility 10,000. Sky condition 2,100. Scattered 2,700. Scattered. Temperature 29er. QNH 1015 for the destination at your estimated arrival time. Wind 064 at 12. Gusting to 21. Visibility 10. Sky condition. Few clouds at 3,200. 6,500. Scattered. Temperature 29er. Altimeter 30.
Spicy. The gusting crosswind. Let me see if there's another airport option or another runway option for us. Yes, but it's not in use. That's awesome. Alright, we're just gonna have to see when we get there. Okay, so now we can, let's get our flight plan in. Clear all our messages. Alright, so our flight plan, we're going to direct PJM. Which is St. Martin. And then, let's see if there are airways here. It is. Cool. I'm going to take that to Koi. And from Koi, I'm going to take another airway. It's the RTE4. And we're taking that to Vidas. Probably mispronounced that. And then from that we can load our procedure. Now our approach. It's TSJS. TFFJ-TJSJ. ILS 10 from Makeup. Then we're going to load the approach. And that should put our nav in it. Yep, our ILS is already loaded. Okay. Right, let's turn our transponder on. And we'll squawk VFR for now. We'll set our altitude. Going up to 16,000. Is there a way? Yeah, do it by thousands. Okay. That way it'd take forever. Okay, what's next? Do we need to get ready? Probes could come on. Some air conditioning in here. Turn the windshield heat on. So pusher test to go. Okay. So let's see. After start checklist, Gen 1 and 2 are on, avionics 1 and 2 are on, standby bus is off, environmental controls to auto, flaps 15, climate control is set, pressurization cruise altitude set. Right. Pusher tests. So we'll do lamp test, make sure all our lamps are working. Yep. And a quick fire test.
Fire.
That is working, so now it's for the pusher test. So this has a stall pusher on it, and it shakes the control wheel. So we do that, you push the pusher test button, bump up the throttle, push the disconnect, pull the yoke back, push that again, and then pusher light is out. Pusher test complete. So then we'll do an autopilot test. Goes through its test.
Warning, autopilot trim.
And that test is complete. Apparently there's a new version available. Well, too late for that. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. Okay, so that test is done. Let me test the yaw dampener. That goes on and off. Very important in this plane. Let's check our trims.
EGPWS system OK.
That test is good. And we're ready for taxi. For taxi, probes are on. Ground proximity warning test is done. Left windshield and right windshield heat is on. Taxi light can come on. Light instruments are checked. Parking brake release. Taxi out. Excuse me. St. Bart's traffic. Good speed 881. Taxiing to runway 10 for departure. It's actually runway 10. Always got that. I you know, some bad habits. There we go. So while we sit here and look at that big hill, we're gonna stop here, put our parking brake on. I'm going to show you that video of the landing here. You can see you gotta aim for this little notch. There's a lot of things you have to worry about. So for one, there's a road here, so you have to worry about traffic coming across. And once you cross that threshold, you gotta drop the plane, almost fly it into the ground. You can see it was even a crosswind landing here. Different view of the same landing, so you can get an idea of how close to the ground you are coming down that hill. So you got to really know your plane, and I don't know the PC-12 yet. See, I was a little high, so I should be touching down there. I floated a little bit, but this plane has very quick stopping power, so. This is a Cessna 208 Caravan, and it's also commonly used in the Caribbean and comes into this airport quite often. Also used by Tradewind Airways too. So that's why I haven't done it yet. Because this plane is tough to handle on approach. So until I get the memory flow down and I can handle this plane without thinking about it too much, then I'll attempt it. Alright, so let's get going. St. Bart's traffic, trade wind, or good speed 881, departing runway 10 to the west. Parking brake off. For start, before takeoff thing, and landing lights, strobe lights, and recog lights can come on. Very short runway. I'm wondering if I should do flaps 30 takeoff. Now we're gonna go 15. Hopefully that works out for us. Alright, so I'm gonna addition over to flight. The brakes. Takeoff power set. Off. 100 knots, flaps can come up. Positive rate, gear can come up. Trim. Flying power can be set. And the yaw dampener can come on. Okay, so let's go nav. Yes, autopilot on. So let's go heading. Gear up, flaps up. Inertial separator can come off. Landing lights can come off. Alright, and we're off. There she is. So to come in on the approach, we would come across here, use this island as a reference or a turn. We would turn in, come across that little notch, and land at that. Playground for the rich and famous. There's some very beautiful beaches, some very luxurious hotels. And this airline, Tradewind, is considered a luxury private airline. So they do charter services out of in the Caribbean, Southeast United States, and Northeast United States. Their actual headquarters is in Connecticut. and they operate these PC-12s as well as Cessna 208s and a couple of Cessna Citation Jet 3s. What would she name her? She looks like a Jen. So Jen's going to be our first officer for this trip. Alright, so we climb out. We're going to check that our pressure is, we're coming up good. Can adjust that climb rate a little bit. Bring it up to 500. Okay. And we're looking good so far. Captured the nav. Get my little Stevo Knievo overlay. Stevo Knievo is a YouTuber that flies the TBM now 940. Used to fly the TBM 850. Great YouTuber. Really cool content. Alright, so we're above 10,000. We can kill the recog lights. Let's check to see what the transition altitude is for St. Bart's. Alright, so it looks like 18,000. So they're all different all over, so you have to check the charts. I have the wrong chart up for St. Bartholomew. No worries. We're good. So there's Princess Juliana thing coming up. There's Princess Juliana. That has the famous beach that everyone stands on at the end of the runway when you see the pictures of the airliners coming in. So I want to preface, so before the update there was a lot of complaints about how this handled, and this plane was kind of squirrely on approach, takeoff. So captured a little early. Fix that up a little bit. So with the update, I think they fixed it. There's still there's a lot of things you have to do. Trimming this thing out is paramount. If it's not trimmed properly, it's going to be all over the place. There we go. Yeah, see, that looks good. So it requires a lot of trimming. So what I have done is I've set some trim to my controls so that I can use, I don't have to, worry about adjusting the trim. I can do it on the fly with my thumb. And I have a keybind, pardon me, coffee because my throat's a little scratchy. Part of the keybinds that I use, I keybound the elevator trim as well as the rudder trim. So it can be adjusted. I haven't had to use the rudder trim yet, and I've landed pretty straight. I have a video on my channel about demonstrating the landing of this plane. I do a little quick pattern around University Park Airport in State College, and I demonstrate that it can be landed straight. Wasn't much of a crosswind with that landing, so San Juan's going to be a little different, but I think we'll be all right. All right, so now we're in the cruise. Gonna let our passengers walk around, use their electronic devices. So let's take a look at the plane. Excuse me, we're going to take a look. This is the cargo and baggage area. You can plug headset mics in for each seat. So these are the tie downs for luggage. We don't have our luggage set in the cabin area. We have our luggage set in the cargo hold. This is the rear cargo door. I believe the executive model has a bathroom. This is the commuter model, so I don't think it has a bathroom on board. So the Pilatus Aircraft Company is a Swiss company, and I can't express how much I love this plane. I've had a version of this plane in almost every sim that ever had it, going back to Flight Sim 98, and I'm ecstatic that this plane came out into this simulator, because it has always been one of my favorites. So we're going to be crossing over the island of St. Croix. And St. Croix is actually our alternate if we can't make the landing at San Juan. But we should be able to make the landing at San Juan. So with the Active Sky, which is new, was just released Thursday. I like it so far. Its weather injection, its use of cloud depiction within the simulator is awesome. Also, I like the turbulence model for it compared to Microsoft Flight Simulator's turbulence model. I think it's more smoother in transitions and seems to be more realistic. I'm hoping this crosswind turbulence at San Juan isn't going to get us, but we'll see. But it has so many features. You can set custom presets, you can set custom weather, and compared to the custom weather in the simulator, compared to this, the transitions are a lot better, and the use of winds are a lot better. So we're a little high. We're still in climb power, so let's bring it back to some cruise. That's good. We'll set our cruise at based on our ITT. So our max ITT was 750. I believe you were over it, climbing in that thing. So we can actually go to 730 for cruise. I think Tradewinds actually uses 730 for their cruise. And let's check our VNAV altitude. So our first intersection is 2200. So we're gonna wait until this gets to 1200 to 1500, and then we'll start our descent. So 29 minutes to our top of descent, but it might be a little sooner because I think they're going to probably give us like 2,000 feet per minute, and I don't want to come down that fast. We're not cargo, we have passengers. We don't need to use air sick bags. It's Tradewind Airways, not Tradewind Roller Coaster. I kid. So it seems to be handling the cruise very well. I don't have any bugs so far, other than our little simulator bug in the beginning where we froze up, but that had nothing to do with the plane. So all our systems are good. There is a bug with the environmentals. This never moves. Hopefully they work on some stuff. RPMs are good. So this has no prop control, so the computer controls the RPMs, I believe. It's not a FADEX system though. I think it's just a prop governor. Keeps it balanced. See, they downplayed, so the exhaust used to blow out here, so this was all wavy. You see, they downplayed that, so the exhaust is blowing lower. I like that. The Caribbean Ocean down below us. We would have a life raft on board, just in case. And at this altitude, we would be using it. If our engine failed, we would not be able to make St. Croix. But everything's running good, so I don't think we're going to encounter any engine failures. So let's talk about the landing. If you see my video, I explain what the procedures are. So this plane is designed for slow. So approach speed is 83 knots. So we want to keep that 83 knots. So a lot of us flight sim pilots, we've been flying the TBM, we've been flying some other planes, and you know, they want us to keep us up in the 90s to 100 almost and still make those good landings. This plane has a big rudder on it. So with the rudder trim and the big engine that's on this thing, the torque wants to pull it to a side. So the trim tries to trim it to counteract that torque. If you're at a high rate of speed with all the flaps down and everything like that, it's going to have a lot of rudder authority, and it's going to push our nose. So if we keep it down in an 83 for our approach and touching down at 65, I haven't had a problem. Elevator trim, as you slow down, you're going to want to trim up. That's it. You're going to want to keep trimming up. You want to be able to trim it up to the point where you're actually pushing the nose down to keep glide path. It's not a hands-free kind of plane. You want to fly that plane down the glide path. That way you can keep it slower and slower, and you can maintain those speeds that we need to be at. Don't be afraid of this range. Stall speed is somewhere around here. So as long as we keep it above this, but below this, so in this white arc here, it should land good. Are there any questions about the systems, Tradewind Airways? Okay. The Caribbean. Oh, another thing with this, you cannot use the GPS CDI switcher to switch GPS or localizer. You have to use this panel down here. Nav button will cycle through that. If you use this, it won't do what you need to do. And I don't want any, so then people be putting in, oh, there's a bug, I can't switch it. No. So it's just you were doing it wrong. Excuse me, you were doing it you weren't doing it right. Gotta use this button here. We can change the CDI display options. Go arc mode, 1 or 2, or HSI. I like to keep it in HSI, that way I have a good picture of, just sinker hitting, I have a good picture of the surrounding compass. So if I need to turn to a certain heading, I can get it right away. So if you're gonna, anything that has to do with this, you're gonna control with this. This has no weather radar yet. I believe that it's an option that they're working on, and it'll be here, I believe. Okay, so finally we have the glide point, so we can make this airport if our engines fail right now. So we're good. Back into not needing our life raft. airspeed is good. So this speed here is our indicated speed, so it's showing what our airspeed gauge is showing. Our ground speed is 240 knots across the ground. So we're approaching St. Croix, another resort destination for the Caribbean. St. Barts is, I believe, a French colony. Pardon me, swig of coffee here. Princess Juliana, or St. Martin, is French and Dutch. St. Croix, I believe, is British. And of course, everyone knows Puerto Rico is part of us, U.S. Or us. That would have worked. Okay, for those just joining us, we're approaching St. Croix. We're going to be turning towards Puerto Rico for our landing at San Juan. We're flying Tradewinds Airways PC-12. We're going through. We haven't found any bugs so far. I went through and explained some of the landing procedures that need to be done to get a nice straight landing so it doesn't veer off the runway. So I was reading in the Discord that from the developers that they've had a problem with the logic between the flight simulator's transition between flight logic and landing logic. So above a certain speed, the plane transitions to, it thinks the plane's flying, even if it's on the ground. So why we get those veering off the runway or skidding all over the place is because the plane still thinks it's flying. So when you get to that slow speed, so if you come in at, if you touch down at around 65 knots, the logic starts to transition to ground handling. So you get more friction on the tires and keeping it straight. So the trick is to keep it slow. Same with takeoffs. To keep a straight takeoff, we want to, when the airspeed becomes alive, when you start passing that 50 knot mark, we're going to start giving it a little back pressure so that the simulator, when the simulator starts to transition to flight, you have flight control of the plane. And then you could keep it by using the rudder control and the aileron control, and you can keep it straight down the runway so that when we hit that 80 knot rotation, so between 65 and 80 knots, the plane thinks it's flying even though we're still on the ground. But with that little bit of back pressure, we start to bring that nose up, we can control that transition. That's how I was able to keep it straight down the runway. And then, when the tires lift off, you're already got control of the plane so that when it wants to, caster into the wind or weather vane, you have control. So you can just let that plane catch the wind and climb out. Take some practice. I'm still learning. I'm by no means an expert. Just someone that's read the research and read the how-tos and practiced them in the sim. I did a bunch of pattern work with this plane to kind of get that down. And you should have seen the first couple landings I did. They were horrible. I ended up in the grass. I just was coming in too fast. I didn't look into it enough. I was coming in at approach speeds that would have been similar to the TBM, which is a little sports car compared to this. This is a truck. And we gotta run it like a truck. So I'm gonna shoot an ILS approach. I read a lot that the people were encountering issues with the ILS approach, so I'm gonna try to implement some of these techniques into the ILS and see if we can bring her down, as straight as possible. It's going to be a crosswind, so it's going to weather vane, but we're going to come in sideways. And I saw on the Discord that the plane will have a tendency to have like a 5-degree yaw to it, and that's normal. That's because of the rudder trim. Another technique that I use is I don't disconnect the yaw dampener until closer to the runway. That's not procedure. The real world PC-12 pilots tend to disconnect the yaw dampener a little earlier. I found so far waiting a little bit to maybe between 500 and 200 feet off the ground allowed me to have more control into the flare. Practice techniques with your own PC-12 in the simulator, and you can find out where that sweet spot for the yaw dampener. It might work for you if you do procedures. I found that I needed less rudder trim control when I held off on the yaw dampener. We're making our turn towards Puerto Rico, and we're about 13 minutes away from the top of our descent. So that's St. Croix below us. I think the flight sim, and that would be our alternate airport if we couldn't make our landing at San Juan. We can come back around and come down to this airport. We all have VFR conditions pretty much today. A little bit of cloud cover out over San Juan, so we'll probably have to come in. Might not be able to maintain VFR, but it's a flight simulator. So if we break the rules a little bit, we'll be alright. I didn't file a flight plan with online agency. I think Microsoft Flight Simulator, when they did their Caribbean update, did a pretty good job. The color transitions are pretty good. Alright. What else? Lighting's pretty cool. You can adjust the brightness. Or maybe not. Might not be modeled. Film light. Just the. Guess we can't. I think it's the floodlight that we could. Yeah, there we go. I saw some of the developers saying that some of the light stuff wasn't coded. Alright, so we're going to start setting up for our approach. Let's double check our nav. Looks like we're going to come down at 1300 on our top of descent. That's within the range that I want. I'm just going to set that up. Switch our frequency to the ILS frequency. We're going to set our altitude. So our initial approach altitude is going to be 2200. And our final approach fixed altitude is 1500. It looks like our top of descent is right at Vidas. I know I'm butchering that name. Alright. Everything's looking good. So we're all set up for our approach. So let's check the weather at St. Bart's. Not St. Bart's, San Juan. TJSJ. Luis Munoz Marin International Airport. Well, let's see the breakdown. 050 at 12 knots, gusting to 21. Really would like to come in on runway 8. That's saying it's not in use. Just look at the procedures for runway 8. With these winds being what they are, I like runway 8. I know it's not in use, but Make it a little better. Okay, so all that flashing means is that we're on, it's reminding us that we're on vertical speed instead of altitude. So that if you quick glanced at it, it would, so let's see, we'll change our procedure to ILS 8. With the Varna transition. Make sure I got the right frequency. And 110.3, not 110.5. Probably because I didn't load the approach. There we go. Check our altitudes. We're going to do 1600 for our approach altitude. And it probably changed our top of the set. Okay. Not that much of a change. All right, 5 minutes. I think I'm going to start. Yeah, I'll wait a little bit. We're doing nice, easy shallow descent. I like that. Let's do gauge. Nice 1,000 per minute. Cross-reference that. 1,000 feet per minute. Pull our throttle back. See if we can get that. Where our banana's going to be. That actually is about right because we're going to turn in and meet our final approach fix. Let's see what our barrel ref is at. 001. coming down nice. Here's Puerto Rico. Just wanted to see where our nearest, where we were closest to. So we've called San Juan approach just to make this legit. It's saying it's not in use. We called San Juan approach and requested ILS 8, and permission was granted. Everything's looking good, so we should be able to, we should be clear those mountains. Coming in over here. Just looking at the map, I wanna get some elevations. So I'm actually going to bring her into 3200 just to stay clear. Of the mountains, because we're kind of getting into some clouds. I don't want to. And Puerto Rico has some, although they're low mountains, they're still mountains. I know Puerto Rico was one of the islands that they redid scenery, photogrammetry wise. So the scenery. Looks very good, actually. I like it. So since we are VFR, we couldn't go through this cloud, so we'd have to cloud dodge, so we'd probably have to slink in over here and try to punch through that hole. But I want to keep it nice and smooth for this flight, so we're going to do, I just want to let everyone know that we're going to do something they're not supposed to, but you're not allowed to fly in the clouds without being IFR. Because we've completely lost sight of the ground. Although we're up high enough, so that mountain's slipping underneath us somewhere in the fog. Luis Munoz traffic, trade winds, good speed, 881, sending 77 for 3200. Establish the ILS runway 08. Luis Munoz traffic. Now I don't know if it's going to auto transition to our ILS. I know it does it in other planes, but it gets finicky. This plane, I think there was some issues with the TDS. Torque back, creeping up to that red line mark. The city of San Juan off our right hand wing. Yeah, so making sure we hit our crossing restrictions perfectly keeps us all out of this mess. Alright, we're going to start making our turn in, so we're going to put our final approach fix altitude in. Bring it back to approach, or power for approach. 20 on the torque. We're slowing up. Bring it in a little more. We want to get below 160 to start letting out some flaps. Then we'll be good. Approach is set. How's it go? The winds are showing right down the pipe. It was a much better choice. So we could drop our gear below 170. So below 200, we're gonna inertial separator out. First degree of flaps. Drop our gear. Arm the approach. Flaps 30. Let that airspeed settle.
Vertical track.
blew through that. Don't know what I did wrong there. But disconnect the autopilot. Stupid Microsoft bug. Okay. Full flaps. Trim. I'm trimming so that I have forward pressure on the thing. Turbulent. The power bags are gonna slow us up. More trim. See, it starts to get kind of more stable the slower we get. So I don't know if the ILS was a bug or I just did the procedure wrong. I'm gonna have to look into that. But we didn't need the ILS.
$500.
Coming in, flying her down to the runway. Plenty of runway for this bird, so if we float her a little bit, that's fine. See where my speed is? That's where you want to keep it. Adjust power, adjust descent rate, and trim. Just fly her down towards the runway. Now damper come out. Keep flying it. Power back, flare. Let her settle in. Bursers. And we're here. Welcome to San Luis Marin International Airport. Oh, we'll clean up the aircraft. So if you just keep those things, you trim and you keep her slow, it's very controllable. So flaps can come up.
Warning, trim.
Oh yeah. So see how high I had it trimmed? That's where you want to be. The green is not the trim for landing. So I just slowly worked my way up to that so that it was there in the flare. And I'm going to figure out why the ILS didn't work for me. I'm sure it was user error. Definitely going to have to do some research on that. Alright, so come off, lights can come off. Strobes, taxi lights. Oh, I didn't put our lights on for landing. Ugh. Ouch. Okay, no biggie. That's why I started talking more about the landing procedure instead of running checklists. Yeah, because look, final checks, landing gear, inertia separator on, and lights. Yep. Alright, so let's see where we're going to park. Let's go over to see what FBOs are at this field. Ground idle, alright, good. Boy, that's a big bump. Methinks that is not at the real airport. Oh, the elevation factors of Microsoft Flight Simulator. You would think 4 years in that they would fix it. You think they would fix it when they did the once again, I forgot to hit flight recorder. Wow. We're going to park over here next to this jet. Whoa. Did not see that. Good thing we didn't prop strike. Alright, so after landing, condition levers ground idle, flaps up, environmental controls off, windshield heat off. Probes can come off. Trim has been reset. Parking brake set, standby bus on. Nav lights off. Beacon light Stay on. Avionics 1 and 2 off.
Warning, avionic bus.
All ice protections are off. Gen 1 and 2 can come off.
Warning, essential bus. Warning, essential bus. Generator 2.
Now we can shut down the engine. So, inertia separator closed. Beacon off. Battery 1 and 2 off. EPS off. Oxygen can come off. And then standby bus off. And then we go let our passengers out. I really got to start remembering to we're here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Watch your step boarding the plane. And enjoy your stay. That's our flight, ladies and gentlemen. Really got to start remembering to, wow, that terrain is messed up. I really have to start remembering to hit that flight recorder. It's really nice to be able to replay the landing so we can, critique it. But anyway, I hope you learned a little bit of something about how to fly this plane, especially the landing, the techniques used for landing. Going to work on that ILS. I think that was user error. I really think it was user error. Well, thank you very much for watching. It was nice to be able to showcase this plane, and I think it's going to be, I think it's on the track to be a good flyer for the sim. And I'd like to thank Simworks Studios for working on it and getting this update out. It's much better to handle and fly. And thank you guys for watching. So until next time, clear skies and smooth landings.